So you're decisive. You're grounding now. There are things that have been complete. Maybe they have been complete a long time ago, but now they're really, really, really complete. And part of this is you are standing at a place where a new foundation, a new way of moving through life is becoming more and more apparent as your most congruent step in your life right now. Now, this could span across relationships, businesses, ways of living. It could be your inner world, your spiritual world. In any case, the sense that I feel about what we're talking about and focusing on most right now is you connecting to your most clear core inner foundation of what is true for you, so that everything else you are building and living from here in your life is in alignment with who you are. Because I get the sense that you're more interested in being energy effective in your life, while also being in integrity with yourself, perhaps with certain responsibilities you have. And so you may be sitting at a place where there's maybe certain things you know you would want. You may be attempting to reconcile what is on your plate or has been, and perhaps there's a big question mark on that path through from here. You have an understanding of the power of inner discernment, but perhaps there's a little bit of that unknowing feeling as you're traversing this corridor. My friend, if this is so, if this resonates with you on any level, it's a delight to connect with you. I'm Danielle Lynn. These are my friends, the Rocks, and you are also my friend, the very rad, intentional creator who is choosing, from my perspective, to live as your version of your truest self. It's a very inspired way to live because from my experience, it involves being deeply honest with yourself and what matters to you. Because I find that every choice that we make in life is consciously or unconsciously built upon the fulcrum of our deepest core beliefs, values, patterns, and even further within that, the source self of who we are. And through the living of our lives, we have, let's say, the core parts of ourselves. Those always exist. But perhaps along the way, through environment, through family, through many variety of experiences, we may sometimes temporarily take on the stories, the thoughts, the beliefs that are not quite us. Perhaps we've repeated them enough that we sometimes think they are. But inevitably, when we attempt to live our lives through the filter or the stories of someone else, it was built on sand, so to speak. And if that's an experience you've had, and I imagine many, and perhaps even all of us have had that experience at one point, please, I offer you to know that you're in good company, for one. And second, if you've come across this video, I receive that as an indication that more than any other point in your life, you are choosing the most solid foundation yet. So here's one of the ways that you can explore and identify your core foundation from right here. You ask yourself internally, what is something that I feel so connected to, so inspired by, that I would say no to other things that I normally like because I am so all in with this thing? One of the things that I felt I could fully commit to was living my version of a flow-based life. Now, for me, a flow-based life meant living life in a way that was coherent for both getting my needs met, to honoring my values, and then overall enjoying my day-to-day bulk expression of life. Because from my experience, the flow-based life wasn't rooted in a specific ideology or a requirement that life itself must be a certain way. It is more of a perspective or a philosophy or an approach to life that says yes and this too, while simultaneously being fully rooted in the core of who I am, while simultaneously giving myself permission to be as I am, I move through this world in a sense of deep trust that everything that is showing up in this world is showing up for me and with me. And so my commitment is my commitment to walk life that way, with a certain sense of curiosity that both allows for the variations and the fluctuations of life, while also simultaneously allowing me personal permission and consent to go all in with dreams, goals, or visions I might feel inspired to, with enough focus and will to live it, but simultaneously enough detachment and curiosity to meet each moment as it shows up and say, yes, and this too, now what? It is an interesting form of determination, because determination from this sense can be very peaceful. I have determined that I am living in a flow-based way. And even if something would appear to arise that would be in contrast of that shows up, I would just say, well, I'm very curious about the way that this is indeed flow-based. It's like walking around in the world with a permanent universal reverse Uno card. And there's something about that that allows you to be fully engaged with what's happening in life, because you don't require life to show up a certain way. It always inevitably shows up the way that's going to be ideal for you. And the reason that I place my commitment in that is because no matter what happens, I can come back. That is my, you could say, foundation that I come back to again and again. And here's the key. That foundation is not rooted on anything external to me. That is an inner fulcrum foundation that allows for everything in this universe to be as it is. And nothing out here must change in order for me to be as I am. Although inevitably things around me will change anyway. And here's the key to connecting with your inner foundation. The inner foundation you find, that I find is the most grounded one you could conceive of, is not even rooted on an idea or a thought of who you have to be, of your skills, of your talents, or anything else. I find that the most solid, consistent foundations are more rooted on, let's say, a way one engages with their inner and outer world at the same time. You could say it's rooted in your personal choice of how you view things, how you decide to interact, and the perspectives you decide to apply. Now, even my own perspectives themselves are pretty flow-based. It doesn't come from a thought that you convince yourself about. It is an actual inner rooting. It is an experience and an expression of what is based on what you truly embody. And so in that way, if you are sorting through doubt, or if you are sorting through feelings, you're going, well, that sounds beautiful, but I don't, let's say, maybe you don't trust certain things will work out. Well, then you have an opportunity to create bridges from where you are. And the opportunity begins with your consistent self-talk, because a great deal of the experiences you will have in this world are going to be shaded or colored based on your continuous inner perception that you have in relating to what's going on around you. Let's say you have no mind about it, then you're simply going to be experiencing things as they come. That might be analogous to a Forrest Gump-like experience where, he went through all kinds of things. He went through war, through this, through that, and he was just simply himself the whole way through. He had a pretty even keel attitude about it. But see, that wasn't him forcing himself to think a certain way. That's just the way he be. So the curiosity gets to be, well, where is your inner fulcrum of balance, and what does it rest on that allows you to navigate through this world without the world needing to change first before you're allowed to be who you are? I did a lot of fingers there. I'm going to pretend we did a drum set. You're connecting to an inner fulcrum that is congruent with who you are without requiring the outer to change first before you are allowed to. And more importantly, the outer doesn't have to stay a certain way. When we have, let's say, challenges like with our bodies or with aging or with children growing or jobs changing, then there is a part of our self or our story or identity that we placed in a thing. If we can feel our deep feelings about something changing while simultaneously not believing that it makes us any more or less of who we are. So it's neither a disconnection from what is, but neither is it a spiral immersion. You see? I perceive you're seeing. And so today's invitation that's meeting you on this topic of grounding, on this topic of being as you truly are, is deeply inviting you to curiously ponder for yourself, what is the most coherent truth present for me when I invite myself to answer, who am I, who I am, in my most authentic form as I can remember it in this moment. The thing that I would live for, the thing that I would place my whole life into, because this is what is my yes. I invite you to curiously contemplate this. If you're a journaling kind of person, understand that the invitation isn't for the mind to construct something, but it's for you to offer this inquiry from a place of embodiment, this inquiry from a place of, I am going to set the stage in the environment for this answer to come through without any fear, shame, guilt, blame, any of this. Because this answer contains within it the foundational stone, the bedrock of everything and anything I could build or live from here. I find that giving yourself the dignity of this answer in many ways is simultaneously deeply rooting and completely freeing. It's a paradox, baby, and I love it. And so, my wonderful friend, I'm going to read a brief passage here, one that felt inspired to share. For all things that are complete within my life, here and now, I accept, I release with empowerment. What is mine will inevitably stay. And what emerges now is the gold of my truth. I call forward my heart's truest knowing in the most clear form that it emerges to me and within me and as me, here and now. I live my version of my most coherent life in all the ways that truly inspire me. My friend, if you feel inspired to go deeper with this work, I invite you to join me and our friends in the Self Alchemy Lab. There's a link in the description. You can also get the Flow book, a very powerful tool for connecting to your inner voice here and now. And in all cases, my friend, I've enjoyed our conversation today, and I'm looking forward to our next one.